All right. Hey, sales warriors. This is Jason Forrest. Now, this message today I'm going to be delivering is the 8 reasons salespeople fail. Now, this applies if you're a salesperson and you want to learn based upon our research why salespeople fail. So, of course, you can avoid them. I'm going to be teaching you some specific counterstrikes, which I think is a kind of cool word, right? A military word. We're teaching specific counterstrikes or countermeasures that you can start using today to prevent that failure from ever happening. At the same time, if you are a owner, part of the C-suite, the CEO, a COO, CSO, CRO, whatever C you are these days, this of course is applicable to you, head of sales, because we're going to show you, again, the 8 reasons salespeople fail, and specifically some tools and tactics and strategies that you can start using today to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, why is that so important? Because think about this. If you have a salesperson that fails your organization, it's not like a non-sales position, meaning that a non-sales position, yeah, they're super important. Don't get me wrong. I value everyone in my organization. But the difference is that salespeople are directly connected to the frontline revenue of your organization. And so, for example, if it takes you 90 days to, let's say, get someone up to speed, and then it takes you another kind of 90 days to kind of establish and measure if that salesperson is going to make it or not make it, if they're performing based upon your level of success. Well, now we're in 6 months. We're 6 months into the relationship, which is basically half your year, right? Basically, it is half your. It's half your year has now either been created or destroyed based upon that salesperson succeeding or failing in that first 6 months. And so I, of course, want to do everything I can in my power to show you how to make sure that doesn't happen to you, meaning that they don't fail. Because again, if that salesperson fails, you pretty much have just kind of destroyed your year. I know I'm being dramatic on that, but think about how many of us, I know we do this in our organization. You know, we have our annual planning retreat. We all get together and we forecast what we're going to do in 2022, and then of course 2023. Right now, we're on track to grow over 50% this year, which we're very excited about. And so we've got a very, very fast growth pace here at FPG, both on our sales recruiting side and our sales training side, our sales leadership training side. But right now, we're on track to grow 50% over 2021, which we're very happy with, especially considering, you know, we're in a recession year. We think that's a pretty good number to grow 50%, right? So, but think about this. We all get together and we plan out, here's what we're going to do for the next 6 months. And, you make those sales hires. And then 6 months into it, again, let's say it's July, it just happens to work out when you hire right at the beginning of the year. Again, they didn't make it, right? They're selling half their quota or a third of their quota. And all of a sudden you finally decide to kind of replace them and start over. Well, now you're another 6 months later before you can decide again. You can see how this really kind of snowballs, and it really kind of kills your year, your next 2 years, your forecast. It's just not a good thing. So again, I'm going to show you exactly based on our research. Been doing this now for over 15 years. Been helping organizations scale profitably, right? It's not just about scaling; it's about scaling profitably. I don't care how much you're selling, but if you're not making any money, then what's the point, right? So we got to make money. It's not just about revenue; it's about profitability. So we show organizations how to scale profitably through hiring the right people, training them, creating sales engineering systems. It's probably my newest thing that I kind of get nerded out about is how to create operational excellence in the sales department, and how to streamline sales and run everything based upon a procedure or a discipline, division of labor, and kind of seeing those things. One of the other things I'm obsessed with, and I want you guys to start being obsessed with too, we'll talk about in a future webinar is what's the constraint? What's the chokehold that's preventing salespeople from performing or selling even more? Do you know that, here, check this out. This is cool research I just found recently. Research is that the average organization, okay, a salesperson only has 3 sales conversations a week. That's insane. 3 sales conversations a week. That is nuts. So that's completely the opposite organization. I'm obsessed with what is the constraint, and I want to do everything I can in my power to make sure that my salespeople are maximizing as many conversations as they can, right? If there's 8 hours in a day and there's 8 possible slots for a sales conversation, I want 8 sales conversations a day. That's what I want, right? That's totally different than 3 in a week. And so think about how much more effective you would be if you just start being obsessed with how many conversations is my salespeople having right now per week, And then what is the constraint that's preventing them from doing that? Again, that's a bonus. That is something we're going to be talking about in the future on a future webinar on how to remove those constraints and how to improve the sales conversations. Because that's it. That's the leading indicator for your success, right? More sales conversations your salespeople have, then obviously the more your revenue is going to happen. Like right now, I want you guys to all write this down. Write down your current sales revenue. So again, on an individual basis, if you're an individual person, what are you currently selling right now on a monthly basis? Okay. Or if it's a corporation, what are you selling right now on a monthly basis on a revenue perspective? And then I want you to write equals question mark your current sales conversations. Equals your current sales conversations, right? So that's huge. So right now, for example, if you're an individual salesperson and you're doing $50,000 a month, but you're only having 12 sales conversations in a month, well, what would happen if you doubled that? What if you doubled your sales conversations? What would happen? Now, again, some of you are thinking, well, Jason, isn't it about the effectiveness of the conversation, about what actually happens in the conversation? Sure, and we definitely could work on that. But we all know that if you just double your conversations and you don't do anything else different, you obviously are going to probably double your results as well. So I'm obsessed, again, from a management perspective, it's about how many conversations we're having and how do we remove those constraints. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's a future webinar. That'll definitely be coming up in the next probably 30 days. We'll do that one. But that's one that I'm obsessed with, and you should be obsessed with as well. It's one of the simplest ways that we can create success. Okay, so right now, again, in this webinar, I'm going to share with you 8 reasons salespeople fail, and I'm going to give you a specific countermeasure or counterstrike in order to prevent that failure from happening. Right now, my son, 14, Saunders, so proud of him. He is at the Marine Military Academy in Harlingen, Texas. It's insane. You would think it's, most people are sending their kids to some sort of summer camp to, whatever, go have a great time and play and so forth. But I was inspired by the Spartans, of generations ago, where they would send their kid, their son to out to the wilderness to come back and be a man, and I just think that's an important thing in our world today. And so we sent him off there for a month and to again learn the principles and the values of being a Marine. And it's crazy the stuff that he is doing, the stuff we've watched it all on Facebook, and it's pretty cool to watch. But I mean, it's literally like watching your son like transform from a boy to a man. Like, it's the coolest thing. It'd be like in the Spartan days, there was some sort of 360 video like happening like out in the wilderness or something, and they were watching their kid whatever, fight the bears and stuff, whatever they did back then. So it's a pretty amazing thing. But you think about it, in the military, that's what it is, right? They're always trying to figure out whatever the obstacle is that they have, whatever the reason why people fail in the military. They want to figure out what's a countermeasure, what's a counterstrike they can do in order to remove the chokehold of failure. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do today. Is I'm going to share with you, again, 8 countermeasures that can remove the risk of failure, which is basically everything, right? So again, 8 reasons salespeople fail and 8 countermeasures in order to do that. At any time, if there's anything that I say that you want to have further information on, or you want to talk to one of our sales warriors and have a great conversation with them to learn more about what we do, what we teach, our programs are, again, number 1 and number 2 in the world, which I think is kind of cool. Back in the day, I used to be trained by Zig Ziglar and Jeffrey Gitomer and all these great ones. And just the other day, Jeffrey Gitomer was in one of my classes. And so it was kind of a weird kind of experience that I'm 43 and I took a Jeffrey Gitomer class when I was 21. And then all of a sudden the tables have turned and now he was in one of ours. So I was very grateful and humbled at the same time. So if you want to learn about that stuff, then there's going to be a Zoom link right now in the chat box. You literally just click on the Zoom link and you're just going to be like transported, like in Star Wars. It's the coolest thing. You'll be like transported like right into a Zoom meeting with our sales team. And again, they'll just there to have a conversation with you, a sales conversation. How like that about that? Again, about anything I've talked about or how you can, start the process of mastering what we are talking about right now. Okay, here we go. Let's go. We're going to go fast. Number 1, write this down. The number 1 reason why salespeople fail is they aim too big. They aim too big. I love this philosophy that, again, the Marines and military live by, and that is you need to aim small so you miss small. If you remember the movie Patriot, you see the movie Patriot, he talked about that. He was telling his kids, aim small, miss small, aim small, miss small, right? What does that mean? It means if you aim at the target, you're probably going to miss the target. But if you aim at the bullseye, you probably might not hit the bullseye, but at least you'll hit the target. So the mistake that we make as sales warriors is that we focus too much on what we're trying to accomplish for the year, or what we're trying to accomplish for the quarter, what we're trying to accomplish for the month, or what we're trying to accomplish for the week. But what if we change it and said, hey, what am I going to accomplish today? Like right now, today. What am I going to accomplish today? Or even better, what am I going to accomplish in the next hour or before lunch? Like the question is, how small can you aim so that you can miss small? The most successful people on the planet, they've got daily rituals and they attack their day every single day. My wife, Mary Marshall Forrest, the co-creator of so many of our programs, especially on the leadership side, she is like the most incredible integrator in the world. And one of the things she's always saying is if you don't put it in your calendar, then it doesn't exist. Another philosophy is if you your to-do list is a place where you send stuff to die. But if you put it in your calendar, this is specifically what I'm doing over the next hour or before, you block that stuff when it comes to prospecting or your sales conversations, then of course you're more likely to get it done. So you want to aim small, miss small. So here's the big application is I'm a huge fan of daily huddles. Again, my background was in Texas football. And so, of course we huddle all the time, right? We were defensive huddles and offensive huddles. And why do teams huddle? Well, because they don't want them to focus on the game, do they? They don't want to focus on the game. The game is too big. The game is too overwhelming. They don't want them to focus on the last play. They could have totally, got destroyed on the last play. They don't want them to focus on the plays two times later. They want them to focus on the next play. What's the play that we're about to do and execute in the next 5 seconds? Let's focus on that. And so I'm a huge proponent of a daily huddle. And our whole company lives by daily huddles. Our salespeople live by daily huddles. Every one of our departments live by daily huddles. And again, we cover this a lot in depth in our leadership sales coaching course, the 5 disciplines of sales leadership. We cover how to do daily huddle. But I'll just give you an insight. Here's the secret. Huddles are very simple, right? Answers 4 questions. It's based upon what I call the 4 questions that change your life, also covered in several of my books. 4 questions are, number 1, what is your focus? What's your focus today? What are you trying? What's one thing you're going to do to move a sale forward, right? So who's a prospect that you're working and how are you going to move that sale forward, right? That's so huge. That's so different than salespeople that just, I'm going to make some phone calls today and I'm going to do my best to get a hold of people. No. Be specific and be chunked down. So number 1, what's your focus? Number 2, why is that your focus? Why do you think that's the most strategic thing you can do? Number 3 is how are you going to get there? Right? So what's your steps? What are your action steps in order to make that happen? And then last is, what's your chokehold? What's your constraint? And whose coaching do you need? Right? Sometimes the constraint is they need something from marketing, or they need something from sales management, or they need something from operations, or whatever it is, right? What's their constraint? What's their obstacle? Or it might be like an objection that they have to overcome. And so that constraint needs to be addressed with their sales manager and to strategize on, how to sell through this. That's what we do all the time. We're constantly my team is constantly coming to me and they're coming to each other on, hey, here's the constraint. Here's what we need to overcome. And we talk through how to overcome that constraint. All right. So number 1 reason why people fail is they aim too big. So the solution is, you need to aim small to miss small. And the application is you must start a daily huddle practice. The beginning of every day starts your day, right? Plan your day, plan your life. Number two, second reason people fail is they focus on the results and not the process. Wow, that's interesting, Jason. What are you talking about? I thought sales is all about the numbers, all about the results, all about how many sales we need to make and our performance numbers. Well, it is, but unfortunately, there's kind of a paradox of sales, right? The paradox of sales is that the more you focus on the results, the less you'll actually get the results. It's a weird thing. And those of you play golf or tennis or anything else, same thing happens, right? You're so focused on like winning the game, then you end up not winning the game. You end up choking. So instead, you got to focus on the process, the performance itself that leads to the result. So I remember I read this book a long time ago when I was trying to learn tennis, and it was a book called The Inner Game of Tennis, and it was a great concept. And it was very similar to what I'm talking about here as it relates to tennis. And he said, you know what, when you're playing tennis, just pick a spot on the other side of the tennis court. So just pick a spot And all you want to do every time is just aim and have a fun game of picking that spot. And so what would I do? I would go out there and practice. I'd get put a little cup, put a little red Solo cup. What a great song that is, by the way. Put a little red Solo cup on the other side of the tennis court. And I would just get hundreds of balls and I would just start aiming, just trying to hit the red Solo cup on the other side. Well, if all I'm doing is every single time I'm playing someone, if all I'm doing is picking a spot and I can hit the spot, don't you think I'm going to get the result? Don't you think I'm going to win the game? Of course I'm going to win the game, because I'm not focused on winning the game. I'm focused on playing with excellence. I'm focused on hitting the process perfectly. That's what I'm focused on. So what's the application? The application is very simple here, and that is you must adopt a sales process and you must live by it. You must adopt a sales process, must live by it. I believe in a very chunked down process. Our warrior selling process is 12 specific chunked down steps. Most sales processes are way too high chunk. Hey, here's 3 things you can do to sell every customer. It's not that chunked up. It's more specific than that. And so I think the more specific, the more you aim small, the more you miss small, right? And so we have a 12-step process, but you need to live by that, because every other department lives and dies by procedures. Every other department lives and dies by. Can you imagine if like your finance department or your accounting department didn't have procedures, and you went to them and you said, hey, so I'm curious, what's your procedure on getting paid, on us getting all paid, getting our payroll taken care of this month and making sure we all get paid on time? Hey, what's your process for that? Oh, I don't have a process. I mean, I just kind of run it. I just kind of run it how I see it. And it just depends on the day, depends on the moment. It's really how I feel is how I decide how I'm going to get people paid. Could you depend on a company that lived like that? Could you depend on the payroll department to make sure that you are paid consistently and you could depend on that? Of course you couldn't. But why in the world do we do that? Why do we run our sales life without a procedure? And every customer is different. Every situation is different. I'm a sales whisperer. And I kind of feel it as I go. It's crazy, right? See, predictable processes lead to predictable success. Predictable processes lead to predictable success. Unpredictable processes leads to chaos. And I can't create life that I want to live on my terms with chaos. I can't plan out vacations with chaos. So I want to have a predictable process, predictable success, and that's what I want to focus on, right? And it always gets to the results, right? So we have a new warrior selling course that starts every single month. And so if you're interested in learning more about that course, again, number 2 in the world right now. We're going for number 1, but it is number 2 in the world. But that's better. It's better than number 3 through 1,000, right? So that's pretty good. So, but if you're interested in this course, we will work with you and create, check this out, a customized sales script. We're going to take our 12-step process and we're going to interview you, and we're going to co-create the highest conversion rate script in your industry. Like, it's insane how well this thing works. I can share with you so many examples of people doubling, tripling, quadrupling their income individually, and of course their performance as a company just through this 90-day program. It's the craziest thing. So again, think of it as like P90X for sales training. So if you already have a program, then great, just master it. But if you don't, then again, we have a 12-step process that we can help you master. All right, the third reason salespeople fail. Third reason salespeople fail is they don't conquer their sales fear. They don't conquer their sales fear. See, a belief system that I live by, something that we trademarked, a formula, is performance equals knowledge minus leashes. So performance is what we do, right? Our results. Knowledge is what we've been taught to do. So right now I'm teaching you some knowledge. I'm teaching you some things. But the leash is any fear that removes you or prevents you from doing it. That's what it is, right? So let me give you an example of that. Right now, Saunders, again, he's in this Marine military camp. And I was just the other day, we were watching, Mary and I were watching on Facebook, and Alpha Company, it's his name, Alpha Company. How cool is that? And if you've ever done these like kind of adventure courses, right? Where they like the team building type thing, where they like climb up, however many feet on this like kind of totem pole thing. They climb up to the very top, and they got of course a band on them. And then they have to like free fall jump right off this totem pole and like slap this other hanging device and so forth. And it's just the whole thing about conquering your fear. And it's just, to me, it's a great metaphor for life, right? Because no one's gonna get hurt doing it. They wouldn't put people in harm's way. Even the drill sergeant says, I will never ask you to do something during this training that's going to put you in a harm's way, right? So they're completely safe and protected. But you can just see these children, some of these kids, right? They get up there, they take the leap, and they yell alpha, and they yell, and they make it happen. They overcome their fear. And others, they really struggle with it, right? They really have a hard time. So it's not just about kind of what to do in life, but it's also about what prevents you or stops you from doing it. What is that fear? And we need to remove and overcome that fear. And that's something that we are all about here. So right now, I want to offer everyone a gift. And that is, we have an assessment that we use. It's a behavioral assessment, not a personality assessment, because personality is not a predictor of a person's success in sales. It does predict how they communicate, which is a valuable thing to know, but not how they're going to be successful or not. So we have a behavioral assessment that will measure the type of fear in selling that you have. Type of fear and selling you have, and if it's relevant for you, and we'll show you how much it's costing you in your commission, which is a huge thing. So if you contact us and you mention that you're on this webinar, then I will give you one free assessment per company, which is a $200 value. Again, just to test it out and to experience it. And it's the most accurate thing I've ever seen. I took my first one again when I was about 21 years old. And I'm 43 now. I've been using one ever since, right? So I'm obsessed with this assessment. I even assess myself on an annual basis because fears are like viruses. You can catch them. Just like the coronavirus, you can catch the coronavirus. You can actually catch fear based upon the people you surround yourself with, the conversations. The number one carrier of sales fear is actually other sales trainers, which is, you get it, right? I mean, those who can't teach, those who can't teach, train, et cetera, right? Those who can't train, coach people on the side in their pajamas, right? So we are not that. We are a practitioner-based sales training organization. But those people who never really were successful and they've got a lot of fear, well, they then go teach their fear to other people, and it's like spreading a cold, but it's much more dangerous than that. So, all right, the fourth reason that salespeople fail is they don't demand coaching. So if you think about it, behind every great sales athlete, I believe salespeople are athletes and they should be coached like athletes. Behind every great sales athlete is a great coach. Behind every great athlete is a great coach, right? I mean, just right now, there's a kind of a counter argument out there that people always give me. They go, Jason, I was always taught by Harvard management or whatever they were taught. I don't know, whatever philosophy they were taught that was ineffective. I was taught that, you hire great people and you leave them alone to do their thing. I mean, think about that. Like, what if that was the belief system of Bill Belichick with Tom Brady, right? Or Tiger Woods' dad, or any great one, right? Jordan Spieth, his father. I mean, think about like LeBron James. I mean, you name the great ones out there, and really think about it. If their coach, their parent had the philosophy of, hey, they're great, so let's leave them alone. Let's let evolution figure it out. That's ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. We would never have known these people's names. There are probably, speaking of that, there are probably other Tiger Woods out there. There are probably other Jordan Spieths out there. There are probably other, Tom Brady's out there. But because they did not have a coach, they did not have someone that saw more in them, they saw themselves, pushed them out of their comfort zone, held them accountable to be the best they can possibly be, we don't know who they are. So think about how many Tom Brady's are out there we don't know because they're not being coached. So as a salesperson right now, listen to me, demand coaching. You need to demand coaching. You need to be someone that's constantly bugging your boss and saying to them, hey, how am I doing right now? What's one thing I can do better? What else can you teach me? Well, I need to learn, ask them how you can be better. Are they happy with your performance right now? And what else could they be doing? They'll tell you something, I promise you. And then on the flip side, those of you who are managers listening right now, is that you need to learn how to be a coach. Whenever I ask sales managers, raise your hand if you've gone through some sort of formal sales training, more than half of them will say they've gone through formal sales training. And then I'll ask that same group of managers, hey, raise your hand if you've ever gone through a formal training program on teaching you how to be a great coach, a great sales coach, a Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, Pete Carroll of coaching. And like no one raises their hand. It's just a crazy thing, right? It's a crazy thing that we think it's important to train salespeople, but not important to train managers on how to get the most out of their people. Like that's the That's the secret to the whole thing, right? So again, we've got a course called Leadership Sales Coaching. Number one in the world for coaching. It's taught at several universities as a part of their MBA program. So it's a legit deal. And it's the only coaching program in the world as of right now that teaches leaders how to remove fear. So a lot of coaching programs will be more like focused on how to improve the knowledge side of it. We specialize specifically on also how to remove the fear, what holds people back. Because isn't that really everything? It's what stops you from doing what we've asked you to do and what prevents you from doing it, right? So that's it. That's the game changer. That's the game changer, right? Okay. The fifth reason why salespeople fail is they measure the wrong things. They measure the wrong things. So think about this. Let's say that you are a high producer, and a high producer in your company sells 4 transactions a month. Let's say that's a high producer. Whatever a high producer is for you, let's just say that's what it is, right? 4 transactions a month. Well, that means that out of 20 working days in a month, you lost 16 times. That's insane. Like what other department is totally crushing it is a top producer when they lose 16 out of 20 days? That's crazy, right? So the reason why salespeople fail is because they're measuring the wrong things. They're measuring the fact that they sold something or they didn't sell something. Well, if you do that, it's only going to lead to a misery, right? Because you're like, man, I can never win. Well, yeah, because you're only winning 4 times out of 20 if you're a top producer. That's crazy. So what's the application? This is one of the most game-changing things I can probably share with you right now, and all of our clients are required to do this, especially during the tough times like we're in right now. And that is start keeping up with your daily wins. Start keeping up with your daily wins. Well, what are your daily wins? Well, a win, yes, of course, is if you sell something. But what about the other wins? What about how many sales conversations you had during the day? What about how you were able to get someone that ghosted you in the past to re-engage with you? What about an appointment that you set? What about, some sort of innovative follow-up? Like I'm a huge fan of sending selfie videos to CEOs. So what if you send a selfie video to one of your top prospects via dub? We're a big fan of using dub videos. And so what if you did that and they watched it? I mean, that's a win, right? These are all wins that you can do. What if you upsold someone? So make an exhaustive list of all of the wins, all the leading indicators that you can do that lead to more sales. And so now every day you can win. Every day you win. It's not the same thing. You're probably thinking, Jason, I thought you're raising Marines and warriors and all kinds of stuff. This sounds like everyone gets a medal. No, it's not the same thing, right? It's just about expanding our ability to succeed, right, through different ways of winning. I'm one of the things on my list is not going to be you showed up to work. That's not going to be on the list of ways that you can win. So just showing up doesn't mean you win. It means what are some specific things that you did that are leading indicators that will lead to obviously the ultimate goal, which is the sales result, right? How about this one? I mean, the number one thing that I tell my sales team to do all the time is just execute the 5-4-3, just the 12-step sales process. I just need you to execute it. Just perform it. Perform it like a great actor would perform their lines. If you just perform it, the score's going to take care of itself. So focus on giving every single customer the greatest sales experience they've ever had in their entire life. That's a win. That's a win to me, right? Because I know if my sales team is doing that, of course, they're going to be performing at the highest possible level, and they're not going to get burned out or get in a slump, which leads me to that another tip around that is that if you ever get into a slump, the reason why we get into slumps and the reason why we can't get out of slumps is because we're not keeping up with all of the leading indicators or activities that we do in order to have great success. So let's say 2 months ago was one of your best months of your life, and right now you're not doing very well, right? Well, the thing I would say is, hey, well, what did you do 3 months ago? What's your sales cycle time? You're like, oh, it's probably 30 days or so, 40 days. Great. So what did you do 4 months ago? If 3 months ago was your best month that led you to that success? Let's go look at all that stuff. Well, if you're not tracking your daily wins, you're not keeping a journal of all the things that you do that create success, then how can you know what to do to be better? It's like counting your calories or counting your food, to know what leads to the results that you're wanting to achieve. Very simple to do, right? Simple to do. All right, number 6, here we go. Number 6, the 6th reason why salespeople fail is they take too long to start selling. They take too long to start selling, right? So right now, if you're a salesperson that's in your early career, specifically this message is for you, or if you're a leader and you're about to hire a salesperson or you have a new salesperson, man, this is critical, right? I'm a big fan of start strong, end strong, start strong, end strong, but you've got to create momentum for things. And if you don't create that momentum and it starts to really, we all kind of worry a little bit, right? You worry as an individual seller, am I really doing the right thing? The company starts to worry and starts to doubt because you're not making momentum. So what's the application? It's a very simple one. And that is you want to make a 12-week plan. Okay. So just all do this right now. Make a 12-week plan that focuses on, what do you want to see, feel, and hear at the end of every week that says you're moving in the right direction. What do you want to see, feel, or hear at the end of every week that says you're moving in the right direction? This could be an onboarding plan for a salesperson as well. In our 5 discipline sales course, 5 disciplines of sales leadership course that Mary Marshall Forrest wrote. It's amazing. It's the coolest thing in the world. We cover this as one of the 5 disciplines, discipline of onboarding, and we work with you on creating that plan. But in the meantime, start making a list of everything you want to see, feel, or hear and by week, right, for the first 12 weeks in order to get to the said result that you want, right? So what do you want how do you want them to perform on day 90? Well, then you want to work backwards, right? You want to back into it. And the idea is, what do they need to see, feel, or hear every week until day 90? And if you want them to be at said goal, like that's just how you do it, right? It's how you plan anything in life is you start from the end. Start from the end, all right? Very important. Start doing that today. Number 7, the 7th reason salespeople fail is they don't know the competition. Wow, this is a big one. They don't know the competition. It's amazing how many fears we have about learning about the competition. It's almost like we don't want to know, right? And it's like, the famous line, ignorance is bliss. I mean, who in the world came up with that? Someone who's not very successful. That's who came up with that one, right? Because I believe ignorance is not bliss, and knowledge is power, and the execution of knowledge is obviously power. So you got to know what the competition is doing. You got to know what they're saying. You got to know what they're saying about you. You got to know what their advantages and their disadvantages are. You got to know that. And so here's the application. You must know the competition better than they know themselves. Know the competition better than they know themselves. Here's your litmus test. Right now, write the name of a competitor of yours. Write the name of a competitor of yours. Think of one right now. And that is, could you go start selling for them tomorrow and not miss a beat? Meaning, like, how long would it take you to get up to speed if you started selling for your competitor tomorrow? If you could start selling and your performance would be where it is today in 30 days, you know your competition better than they know themselves. But if it's going to take you 6 months in order to get up to speed, or 90 days to get up to speed, you don't know them that well. You don't know them that well, right? So you need to be able to know your competition better than they know themselves. Why? Because you need to be able to anticipate what the advantages are that they are offering to your customer, so that you can provide a countermeasure against what the competition is saying about you. So if they're offering your customer a better, a lower price, you need to be able to explain why that is. They're giving less, and so they're charging less. Well, you need to be able to defend that, explain that, reframe that. If you can't, then you're going to lose. If there's certain features in their product or service that they don't offer, well, you need to be able to explain how that's going to hurt or harm the customer. They need to be able to know that. They need to be able to know that it's not going to get what they're looking for. Like, so for example, one of our competitors sells something that's a third of our cost on the training side. So we have a recruiting company, a training company, but on the training company, they sell something that's a third of our cost. That's insane. Well, people go, well, yeah, but why is that, Jason? Well, I mean, the simple reason is that all they offer them is a bunch of videos that the sales team watches, and the sales managers, can choose to go through them with them or not go through with them. Well, okay. Well, that's crazy, right? Because what we do is we have trained advisors, trained trainers that are practitioners that hold salespeople accountable to executing these concepts and removing their leashes. And so we're actually holding people accountable to going through it together. That'd be like The metaphor would be, yeah, the reason why, you can have a subscription online to a bunch of self fitness videos is, and if you just do them yourself. But are you really going to get the most out of it? Are you really going to get the body that you desire if you are just training yourself? Or is it better to have some sort of coach, some sort of accountability partner, some sort of mentor that's going to push you to be at a different level, right? Some drill sergeant. Do you really think my son Saunders would start every day at 5:30 in the morning as a 14-year-old kid and go to bed at 9:30 every night and literally run 10 miles every single day and thousands of push-ups and all the travel through mud? We didn't have drill sergeants, seeing the most of them and hold them accountable to make this thing happen. Of course not. And so, yeah, we charge more, but we charge more because you want the results that you're desiring. And so so you're going to invest a little more in order to guarantee the results, right? But you got to be able to explain what is different about you than the competition. And so here's some lines I want you to start, here's some script I want you to start using. And that is, let me tell you, write this down. Let me tell you the 5 reasons that we're different than XYZ. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Let me tell you the 5 reasons we're different than XYZ. Another line I like to use a lot too is, you know what? That's a great option. That's a great option. But the reason why people choose us is blank. Or the reason companies choose us is they have a goal of blank. So again, it's called a reframe, right? So make sure that you can use the language like that to know your competition, but sell successfully against them. All right, the final reason salespeople fail and the solution for all of it is number 8. They don't have the conviction of the founder. Man, that's a big one, right? They don't have the conviction of the founder. If you think about it, think about right now, think about just all the famous people in the world, right? The Walt Disneys, the Steve Jobs, think about the Richard Bransons, and I want you to just kind of, for a second, just kind of close your eyes and just kind of picture how they would, kind of sell their product or service. Or, we all probably watch Shark Tank. I've seen Shark Tank at least once in your life. If you don't, it's like the best educational show you could ever watch, right? So, but think about like those founders that come and pitch the sharks at Shark Tank. Think about how passionate they are and the words that they use and how they clearly articulate, the value of what they're offering. So once you have a picture of that in your mind, you can hear those people. Now compare that to how you speak about what you sell. Compare that to how your salespeople speak about what they sell. Very different in some cases, isn't it? So the reason salespeople fail is because there's too much of a gap, right, between how the founder sells and how the front line sales. They don't have the conviction of the founder. Like, it's so funny. Like, whenever I do work with small businesses, all the time that, I'll say, so tell me about your sales performance. And they'll say all the time, right? They'll have a sales team of like 5 or 6 or 10 people. And they'll always say the same thing. Well, I sell blank. So the founder's talking to me, right? So I sell blank and I'm the top salesperson and I sell this. And I said, great. Well, how does that compare to like your average person? Oh, it's like, 100%, higher than the average. And then I'll say, well, first of all, we need to like remove you from the equation right now, right? Just for a second, right? And just remove you from the equation because you have this conviction of you and you're transferring your emotions through your words, and people just feel differently when they speak to a founder. And so, yes, you are kind of the gold standard now of what we need to all strive for, but there's a huge gap of I guarantee you, of how your salespeople are speaking and what they're thinking about what they're selling compared to what you think and feel about what you're selling. And so, look, selling, write this down. Selling is about influence, right? It's about using your words and your actions to influence your prospects' thoughts, words, and actions to make a decision to improve their lives. That's all it is. And so the application or the action I want you guys all to do right now is that we have a course called Advocacy Unleashed, and it's very simple. And it's about how to sell like a founder. I wrote the course myself because I was sick and tired of seeing so many companies fail because the founder was the top salesperson and everyone else around them just couldn't do it. And so I wanted to make sure that we were teaching, salespeople how to think and speak and feel like the founder, so they can transfer, those thoughts and those words and those actions to the customers they serve, right? So it's a course called Advocacy Unleashed. So definitely contact us if you're interested in that course. But those are 8 reasons why salespeople fail. And of course, the corresponding countermeasure that you can use to make sure that failure doesn't happen to you or happen to your sales team. All right. So again, check us out. Contact us for more information. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I love connecting to people and hearing about what you specifically learned today and how this improved your life and how it benefited you. It's like fuel that gets me to keep doing these webinars for you guys. We can do several a month. And so definitely want to hear your feedback, as well as go to the link, and you can download some assessments and different kind of takeaways from this webinar today. All right. See you next time. This is Jason Forrest. Push yourself to become a better version of you. See ya.